Imagine being stranded hundreds of miles from home, penniless and without any belongings. Many would despair in such a situation, cursing their fate. But for Zeno of Cyprus, it became the basis for his life's work and legacy. The once wealthy merchant lost everything when he was shipwrecked in Athens around 300 BC. With few options, he casually walked into a bookstore and became interested in the works of Socrates, continuing to seek out and study the wisdom of the city's renowned philosophers. When Zeno began teaching his students, he founded the school of philosophy known as Stoicism, whose philosophy of virtue, tolerance, and self-control has inspired generations of thinkers and leaders. The name Stoicism comes from the Stoa Poikile, the ornate public colonnade where Zeno and his students gathered for discussion. Today, we often use the term Stoicism to describe someone who remains calm in difficult situations, avoiding emotional extremes. But this term only partially describes Stoic philosophy. Stoics believe that everything in our environment operates according to a network of cause and effect, resulting in a rational structure of the universe, called logos. While we do not always have control over the events that happen to us, we can influence our approach to them. Rather than creating an ideal society, Stoics attempt to cope with reality, striving for self-improvement through 4 core values: practical wisdom, the ability to deal with complex situations in a logical and calm manner; temperance, the exercise of self-control and moderation in all aspects of life; justice, doing right by others even when they have failed; and courage, not only in exceptional situations but also in everyday challenges with integrity. As Seneca, one of the most famous Roman Stoics, wrote, "Sometimes living is an act of courage itself." Although Stoicism focuses on personal progress, it is not an egotistical philosophical system. At a time when Roman law considered slaves to be property, Seneca advocated for their humane treatment, emphasizing that we all share the same basic humanism. Stoicism also does not advocate passivity. The idea is that only people who develop values and self-control within themselves can bring about positive change in others. One of the most famous Stoic authors was actually one of the greatest Roman emperors. During his 19-year reign, Stoicism encouraged Marcus Aurelius to lead the empire through 2 major wars, while also coping with the loss of many of his children. Hundreds of years later, Marcus's diaries would guide and comfort Nelson Mandela during his 27 years in prison for his fight for racial equality in South Africa. After his release and eventual victory, Mandela emphasized peace and reconciliation, believing that while the injustices of the past could not be changed, his people could confront them in the present and try to create a better and more just future. Stoicism was a philosophical school that flourished in Greece and Rome for several centuries. Although it has disappeared as a formal institution, its influence continues to this day. Christian theologians such as Thomas Aquinas appreciated its emphasis on values and drew parallels between Stoic atrasia, or peace of mind, and the Buddhist concept of nirvana. The famous Stoic Epictetus argued that suffering comes not from events, but from our evaluations of them. This idea resonates with modern psychology and the self-help movement. For example, rational emotive behavior therapy focuses on changing self-destructive attitudes, while Viktor Frankl's logotherapy, which emerged from his experience in a concentration camp, relies on the Stoic principle that we can use our willpower to give meaning to life, even in the most difficult times.